All right, welcome to Equipped. Coach Matt here. Equipment-wise, all we need today is if you have a heavy weight, heavy kettlebell preferred, dumbbells will work just fine. Or if you have a pair of weights that will be heavy, we will be doing some deadlifts today. So judge your weight accordingly. And then maybe something a little bit lighter that we will be pressing for our conditioning. The drill usually our strength training portion likes to go a little bit heavier, build that strength. Conditioning portion a little bit lighter, just to kind of work to move that body and get that endurance. Also, if you have a band, super band would be excellent. We'll be working with this for a little bit of kind of power strength today. If you don't, show you some ways to make it work without it, but highly preferred. So we're going to go ahead and get started this evening. Start rolling down towards those toes. We're going to really focus kind of on the hamstrings here to start. So we're going to get a nice little stretch out. Just let that body weight kind of fold forward, pull you down. Stretch the back of the legs out. We'll hold here about 15 seconds or so. Then we're going to grab those toes and sit that down to a nice, good, deep squat. We're going to try to get that chest up nice and tall. We'll send those hips back up. We're going to do this 2 more times, just with a couple seconds. Hold on that hamstring. And drop ourselves back into that squat. Nice, proud chest. One more time, setting those hips up. Drop that down to a squat last time, and then we'll just stand that up at the top. Once we get up there, those hands are going to go behind those head. You can choose to interlace those fingers if you'd like to. Pull those elbows nice and wide out to the side. Create tension in that upper back. Make sure those hips are tucked in under. Those abs are pulled in tight. We're going to send those hips back as far as we can into a nice hinge. Again, feel that hamstring stretch. We'll squeeze those glutes, send those forward. Back into that starting position. We're going to do this for 5 good solid reps. Make sure we're getting those hips as far out as possible, driving those glutes forward. Try to go ahead and already get in the mindset of driving those glutes forward. Get a nice strong contraction through the whole back side there. That's going to really help us out when we get to our deadlift today. We're going to squeeze and go one more time here. Nice tall neck. Pulling those shoulders back, drive and squeeze. All right. If you have your band, we'll use that for our warm-ups. Take a nice, maybe a little outside shoulder width apart. Keeping those arms nice and straight. We're going to send that band up overhead. Pull it apart as much as you need to. We're going to pull this all the way back around. All right, trying to get to the opposite side. Again, keeping those arms straight. Bring that all the way back. The wider the grip, the easier this will be. The more narrow the grip, the more difficult you will be. Once you find a width that is challenging for you, it should feel a nice little stretch through those lats. Just feel kind of that shoulder loosen up. Get a little warmth in there. It's fine. We'll be doing a little bit of overhead in our conditioning with some thrusters. So we just want to make sure we give a little bit of attention to there. I'm going to go one more time here, nice, slow and controlled, all the way through, pulling apart as much as necessary, but trying to keep those arms stiff. And we'll relax there. And get some lunges. You can hang on to the band if you want to for a little bit more work through that upper body. Otherwise, you can drop the band. If you are going to hold that band, we're just going to put that straight up overhead and get some nice, good lunges. You can again choose without that band, and we're just getting those arms straight up overhead. I'm going to get about 5 or 6 going forward here, and just for the fun of it, I'm going to go 5 or 6 going backwards. We'll have the choice later on of which direction you want to go. Typically, I like to go reverse for a little bit more of that glute action, little hamstring. There's big focus for today. Go ahead and drop those arms down. Last thing, warm up that back. We're going to take a band depending on your resistance. Closer your hands, the heavier it's going to be. Again, the wider, the easier. We're just going to pull that band apart. We're going to squeeze those shoulder blades nice and tight behind. So think about kind of punching forward here, rounding that back, and we're squeezing that back as we pull that band apart, arms nice and long. So feel that shoulder blade, both sides, squeezing together and separating apart. Let's go 2 more times. Pull and squeeze, slow release, pull and squeeze, long neck, and release. All right. Should be a little bit warm, which is good. Cool. So what we're going to do for our deadlifts, we're going to do some sumo style banded deadlifts. So like I talked about, a little bit of power work. A few different ways. Let's take a moment to kind of show you how we're setting this up. If you do have the kettlebell, which is going to be a lot easier, you're just threading that band through the handle. It's hooking onto one foot. It's hooking onto the other foot. You get those feet far apart. Okay? So what that's going to look like is we are just picking that bell up, and that band is going to resist, offering a little bit of extra power. With the dumbbell, it's a little bit more difficult, but we can certainly make it work. You're going to put that dumbbell on its end. You're going to loop that around the head, and you're really just going to twist this band as many times as you can to get it nice and, I guess, like screwed. So the reason behind this is we're trying to get as tight of a grip on the head of that dumbbell as possible. So when we lift it up, it's going to be nice and tight on the opposite head of that dumbbell. So that's how we're looking for each of the pieces of equipment today, and that is what that sumo deadlift is going to look like. All right, so that is our game plan. We're doing 3 good sets of 8. I want you to take it at a pace you feel comfortable with. Not going to have a specific time limit or anything on there. If you want to go a little bit heavier across those rounds, certainly you are free to do so. The farther apart those feet are, the more tension you are on that band. You can even add a few more bands if you would like. So we'll go ahead and get this first set going. Make sure those hips are sitting back, that chest is nice and high, pushing through those feet, squeezing through those glutes. All right, we're going to go for 8, coming all the way down to the ground each time. 4. Again, chest is high, hips are back, hips are coming through at the top. 7, last one for 8. A quick little break. We'll rest and reset. We'll do this next one from the side so we can see what we're looking at. Lots of different moving parts on this one. If that band is too difficult, you can always take that off. Or if you have a lighter band, you can make that a little bit less difficult. All right, so we'll take about another 20 seconds or so of rest time. We're going to try to stay between that 30 to 60 seconds of rest. Let us regain a little bit of strength, a little bit of energy, and then we'll go back for round number 2. All right, so we'll go ahead and get set up for our second round. Get those feet out nice and wide. So when we don't do that sumo deadlift a lot, but we're looking for those toes to be pointed out about 45 degrees. Quite a bit outside that shoulder width apart, nice and wide. When we get down, those knees are going the same direction as those toes, okay? So don't try to fight that rotation. I want you to kind of go in a natural position. When we get down to the bottom to set up, notice those hips are back, that chest is nice and high, all right? I'm not knees extended, folded over like this. I have those knees bent, those hips back. Should already feel some hamstring and glute tension, okay? Nice and long in those arms, pressing through those feet. Squeeze that butt. All right? Again, round number 2 of 8. Really extending through those legs, pushing through the ground, and of course, our lovely gluteus maximus doing the majority of the work here. Weight stays very, very close to us, right underneath the center of mass, right in the middle of those 2 feet. Last 2 reps here. Once you try to pull with power, Squeeze those glutes and back down. All right, we'll take another minute break and then we'll go into our final set. Hopefully you're feeling pretty good. Again, if you have additional bands you want to add, if you have additional weight that you want to switch out and kind of build across these 3 sets, wonderful. Take a minute, I feel like my heart rate is really high just from doing those. So we'll take about 20 more seconds and we'll start to get set up. If it takes you a little bit longer, if you want to go ahead and get set up, you can. Making sure that, again, we're focused on the back side here. Hamstrings and glutes, took some time to warm those up, put those into action in this strength. All right, let's get down and get ready for our 3rd set here. Trying to make this one a good one. One thing we can try here is that slow descent. So thinking about kind of fast, explosive on the way up, driving those hips through, and slowly lower that back to the ground. Kind of a good way to finish a few sets here. All right, so get down, nice long arms, driving up, squeeze, and lower that self back down. Good, in control. Let that weight come all the way out. Pull again. There's number 2. Slow on the way down. 3. Notice some exhaling as we get to the top of that lift. And slowly lower it back down. There's 5, maybe 4, I'm not sure. Driving those hips through. So hips are very, very far back, just like that hinge. Driving those hips through, just like that good morning warm-up. There's a very good purpose of doing those as our warm-up. I'm going to get one last rep here. And slowly lower back down, keeping that hinge. And relax. All right. We're going to toss that big boy to the side. We're going to get a quick sip of water. All right, hopefully hamstrings are fired up. We're ready to go for some conditioning. Let's talk about the movements that we have for this 10 minutes or so of work. So we've got a little bit lighter weight, dumbbell or kettlebell, your choice. First movement is a single arm thruster. All right, starting on that shoulder, we're coming down to the squat, up and press. Down to a squat, up and press. All right, so we'll do that on both sides. Second movement, we're going for jumping jacks, just good old fashioned jumping jacks. If you have a jump rope, which you would rather jump rope, please by all means, but usually no equipment's a little bit easier. So jumping jacks will be technically our third movement, but our second different movement. Then we're going to go back to that band if you have it. If you don't, just more dumbbells or kettlebells. We're going to put the middle of that band under both feet. We're going to grab those handles, and we have some nice bent over rows on that band. Show you from the side here, bent over rows. All right, so notice that back nice and flat. That tailbone's kind of tucked under, abs are pulled tight. Pulling that back to our hips. All right. So again, the reason we're on that band is a little bit more of that power. So the more we pull, the heavier it's going to get, and we're looking to decelerate in control as we extend. That band's going to want to whip you down, but we're going to nice and easily let it extend. Okay. Then we're moving some good old-fashioned push-ups. Just 10 of those. And we're going to finish with some alternating lunges. So talk about in that warm-up, you can go forward or you can go backwards. Alternating legs. You can hold that weight if you want to. We've got a high count, 40 of them. So if you want to just do body weight, we can just hang on to nothing. All right, so I'll kind of lead you through the first round so we know what's going on. And then after that, if you want to take it at whatever pace you're comfortable with, you go for it, by all means. So we'll go ahead and grab that weight, whichever hand you'd like to start with. We've got 10 single arm thrusters.
You're ready for it? Let's get down and go for it. So using those legs help drive that weight up. There's 2. Finishing nice and strong overhead. Getting that bicep to the ear, ever so important. 6. There's 9. And 10. We're going to go right to that other side. We're going to do that same thing. Sitting back into that squat, driving up. Try to make sure those abs stay engaged, just like our sumo squat or sumo deadlifts. Hips go back, hips go forward. As soon as those hips drive forward, that weight gets punched up overhead. Last one here. And relax. Put that weight down. We've got our jumping jacks. We have 40 jumping jacks. All right, let's do it. Just get a little cardio break. There's 20. It's always hard to talk and count, but when we have a high number of these jumping jacks, that's 30. A little bit harder, even still. Still have to count on my fingers. That's 3, 2, 1 more, and 40. All right, heart rate's off a little bit. Exactly what we're shooting for. We're gonna grab that band, head over into those rows. So we're gonna get right in the middle, underneath our feet. We just got 10 of these. Looking to be in control on those pulls. On those hips tucked under. Squeezing the back, just like those band pull parts. Make sure we're engaging those shoulder blades. All right, when we get those 10, we're going to go drop down to our push-up position. We had 10 pulls, and we have 10 pushes. Push-ups or whatever style you're comfortable with. I'm just going to go for some classic shoulder width apart, low, and explode. Imagine pulling yourself to the ground, driving away. Trying to match the tempo of those rows we just completed. See if we can match that pace up with that pace down. Last 2. All right. Push-ups are fun. A lot of different ways we can vary those. We're going to move into those lunges now. Again, if you want to hold that weight, you can. I'm going to choose not to this first round. Just try to move a little bit quicker. Again, just focus a little bit of cardio work. So again, we're going to 40 altogether, which is 20%. Just looking to replicate those reps, or clone those reps, really everything looking exactly the same. There's 20, there's our halfway point, if you're with me. After this, we're going to go back to the top with those single arm thrusters. I think we are right at that halfway point of time. We have 5 minutes down, 5 minutes to go. So we should be right on pace to finish a second round if you're with me. And again, if you're moving a little bit faster, by all means, go at a pace you're comfortable with. Last 2 lunges. And 40. All right. Quick little shake. Again, this is our conditioning, so we're going to try to hop right back into that work. 10 more thrusters each side. Squatting down, pressing up. So I'm really trying to keep that head as neutral as possible on that punch. Big drive up, using those legs to finish that rep. Switching sides. A little settling breath there, I forgot to press. So there's one. Too focused on counting the reps, I'm not doing the reps. So if you choose to kind of take a rest here at the shoulder before going down, that's totally fine. Otherwise, you can almost kind of pull yourself into that next rep. I'm usually a fan of that one as it kind of promotes that momentum, kind of rolling right into that next rep, helping that kind of conditioning, being able to kind of continually move that weight. All right, if you're with me, we're back to jumping jacks, 40, trying to pick that pace up just a little bit. And we're getting a little bit tight on time. There's 10. I'm gonna try to get that heart rate up. Move in those limbs, get that blood 20 circulating. Nice big arms, nice wide legs. 30. I hope. You know, count your own. I think that's 40. I'm gonna say that is. All right, we're gonna go to that mountain row. So remember, same tempo up, same tempo down. That's the big thing. Kind of really spike that heart rate up with those jumping jacks. And we want to control that heart rate with a nice slow movement like these rows. So remember, tuck that pelvis, squeeze those abs. Nice fight back as we pull. Pausing for a little bit of a squeeze at the top of each one. Trying to get that breathing under control. 6. Trying not to hold the breath. So I like to talk through class all the time. Make sure that I'm breathing. Last one. Number 10. Roll back down to the ground for our push-ups. We're almost there. We got about 90 seconds left of this workout. Try to finish these 10 push-ups and our 40 lunges. Remember, pull yourself down to the ground. Slowly push away. Under control, each direction. Same tempo as those rows. Even a little pause at the bottom if you want that extra challenge. 5. Try to keep those shoulders down away from the ear if you can. Nice long neck. 3 to go. There's 8. 9. And 10. Back up to our feet. We're going to get our final 40 lunges here. Just under a minute to knock them out. We're going to try to move that body. Finish strong. I'm going to stay here until we finish. Nice proud chest. We got 10 down, 11 or 12. Trying to move. So a good way to kind of challenge yourself, you usually like throwing a little bit of a sprint at the end for a little of that energy systems development or that ESD. Over halfway, 22. Definitely breathing now. We got the last 10. Keeping that chest high. Remember, Try to pick a point, focus on that, keep that eye at horizon level, and there's 40. All right.